Okay, it's 6:30, Mayor. Let's go ahead and start.
I call this meeting to order for April 13th, 2021. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Richard Boss.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Nadia Sykes.
Here.
Commissioner Sharon McDonald.
Here.
Commissioner Josh Varden.
Here.
Commissioner Susan Payne.
Here.
Commissioner Dusty Wright.
Here.
Commissioner Jason Baldwin. Jason.
He gave you a thumbs up.
Okay. You can find him with all these many heads here.
I know.
Manager Brian Caesar.
Here.
City Attorney Patricia Banglashay.
Here.
The Deputy Clerk is present. And Mr. Mayor, we do have a quorum.
Thank you, Teresa. If everyone would please stand, our Deputy Clerk, Teresa Gutierrez, will lead the invocation, and that'll be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Just remain standing, and Commissioner Reardon will lead us in the pledge.
Join me in prayer. Heavenly Father, we come before you tonight and ask for your continued guidance and grace as we represent our city. Lead us in all our decisions, not only here, but also as we go about our daily lives. May your compassion and mercy always flow through us and onto those whose paths that we may cross. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
And
Please follow me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you both. Move on to approval of the agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
so moved.
Was that Commissioner Payne?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Payne. I have a motion, Commissioner Payne, to approve the agenda. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
I have a second from Mayor Pro Tem Smith. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes 7-0. We do have all 7 commissioners here, correct? Yeah.
Yes. Commissioner Reardon, you're there. You go. I was gonna
Yep.
say you're muted.
I was
Sorry.
trying. I got 2 for mouses. So, grabbed the wrong one.
We'll move on. Item 1 under presentations, presentation of the Triple Up Day for Military Kids Day proclamation. As mayor, I have the distinct honor and privilege of recognizing organizations, advanced individuals, and groups that deserve special recognition. I do this on behalf of myself, our city commission and staff, and our entire community. This evening, we are recognizing a very special group, the children of our military men and women. Boys and girls, these boys and girls live without one or sometimes both of their parents for long periods of time. They move around a great deal and are forced to leave their friends and family behind. These children are serving their country just as their parents are. I do this special recognition by proclamation from the City of Alamogordo executive offices. Whereas April marks the nation's month of the military child, a time to honor youth impacted by deployment, and whereas The month of the military child provides an opportunity to pay tribute to New Mexico's military children, as well as those assigned here from other states, and honor their sacrifices, celebrate their spirit, and let our men and women in uniform know that while they are taking care of us, we are taking care of their children. And whereas purple is the color that symbolizes all branches of the military, as it is the combination of Army green, Coast Guard blue, Air Force blue, Marine red, and Navy blue. And whereas all citizens of Alamogordo, New Mexico and Otero County are encouraged to wear purple on Friday, April 16th as a visible way to show support and thank military children for their strength and sacrifices. Now therefore, I, Richard Voss, Mayor of the City of Alamogordo, New Mexico, do hereby proclaim Friday, April 16th, 2021 as Purple Up or Military Kids Day in Alamogordo, and urge all the citizens to wear purple in its observance. Move on to public comment. Do we have any public comment, Lisa?
No, no public comments, no.
City managers report, Brian Caesar.
Tonight, I'm not feeling very well, so I'm available for questions. I don't have a report for tonight. I've had technical issues with my tablets. I have come back into this office.
Move on to remarks and inquiries by the city commission. Does any commissioner have any comments they would like to make or inquiry?
Mayor,
Commissioner Payne.
I wanted to take a few minutes and talk about somebody very special that we lost just this week or so ago. In our community. She was really pretty iconic, to be honest with you, and I don't say that lightly. Teresa Ham, as some of you may know her, some of you may not. I just kind of wanted to, I was kind of reading up on her. I knew Teresa, but she's pretty humble, and I just did not realize all the things that she did, and so I was kind of reading up on her today, and I thought I'd share a few of those with you. Of course, many of us knew that she helped establish Alamogordo Eye, used to be Alamogordo Eye Clinic. Of course, now it's Fillmore Eye Clinic. What I didn't know is that was actually the first I can't pronounce it, ophthalmic clinic in Alamogordo. And so that was, I didn't realize that. And so that's pretty exciting. And of course, it's still there today. As I said, it was Fillmore Eye Clinic. Probably one of the things that she's most known for, one of her greatest accomplishments. Of course, Teresa was an RN. She was a nurse and actually worked at Gerald Champion for a while. But one of the things that I find most exciting about her accomplishments is she helped create what we know today as the Flickinger Center. And many of us know that she was very involved in that. Her daughter, of course, Joni, very involved in it as well, and helped create that. Back in 1991. She started a campaign to raise funds for that, and also the Patrons Hall next door. She was also very instrumental in acquiring Patrons Hall as well. And as I said, very involved, even just up until very recently, very involved. And I know she had a great passion for that facility and for all the great things that came out of it. She served on the Habitat for Humanity board. She was a Rotarian and received many, many prestigious awards. I could go on and on. Of course, a member of 100 Women Who Care at Alamogordo. She served on the board of COPE, and most recently, some interesting awards. She received a Service to Mankind Award, and that is the highest award given to a non-Sertoman, so I guess that's part of this Sertoma Club. Women of Merit, and most recently, some of you may remember, she was not given a very prestigious award of Alamogordo Citizen of the Year back in 2018, and I remember that very well. I think several of us were there that night. And so Teresa, definitely a great presence in our community and will definitely be missed. And I think it's safe to say on behalf of all of us, our thoughts and prayers go out to her family, her daughter Joni, her husband, of course, and her kids. And boy, she had a lot of grandkids as well. And so our thoughts and prayers go out to them, and she's definitely going to be missed.
Thank you, Commissioner Payne.
Thank you.
We'll continue on with remarks and inquiries from the city commission in a moment. But it's been brought to my attention that we do have someone here from Holloman. I apologize for not recognizing you. And all I can see is, I think it's Lori Ann. Lori, are you on the line?
She's muted.
Is she muted?
Yes.
She's muted, yeah. I'm asking her to unmute. There we go. Well, no, she's still muted.
Can you hear me now?
No, well, I don't know. She can probably hear you, but she's still muted.
Okay. All right, well, maybe we'll have another opportunity. I just wanted to welcome her tonight. Anyway, okay, we'll move on with the remarks and inquiries from city commissioners. Any other commissioner have a comment or inquiry they would like to make? If not, we'll move on to the consent agenda.
This is Lori Ann.
I'm sorry, what? Oh, Lori Ann, good evening.
Yes, sir. Good evening. Sorry, I was my phone rang. I apologize.
I'm so sorry I didn't recognize you when I was doing the proclamation. Anyway, we thank you for being with us tonight. And we especially want to thank all the military children and also our military. We want you to pass on to them that we're thinking of them, and I think they know we love us. But anyway, thank you so much for coming in tonight. We appreciate that.
Absolutely. Thank you all so very, very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Would any staff member or commissioner like to pull any item from the consent agenda? If not, do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
With that, okay, Commissioner Wright, you have a motion. Commissioner Wright to approve the as stated. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
I have a second from Commissioner Reardon. I don't think we need a roll call vote on that, do we?
It is a roll call vote, yes, sir, because of the ordinance.
Okay, will the clerk please call the roll?
Jason Baldwin. Jason, you're muted.
Jason, hold a finger up for an eye. He's talking again.
Can you hear us, Jason?
Oh, he's
Okay, I'm doing the roll call vote. Okay. Nadia Sykes,
Aye.
Josh Warden,
Aye.
Sharon McDonald,
Aye.
Dusty Wright,
Aye.
Susan Payne,
Aye.
Richard Boss,
Aye. And I believe Commissioner Baldwin is voted aye, so the
yes,
motion passes 7-0. Consent agenda is approved as presented. Move on next to item 6. Consider and act upon a wine grower liquor license for St. Clair Winery and Bristol, the 6th LLC, application 1180494, located at 261 Panorama Boulevard. I believe we have this evening, we have Rebecca Combs, I hope I pronounced that right, here.
she was here. Oh yes, she's here.
I'm here, Mayor. Thank you so much. Do you want me to, do I need to present the project or you?
Really, I don't think, has there been any, is there any comment from any of the commission, or have we had any comment on this? No discussion?
Mr. Mayor, I'll just make a motion that we approve, let me see what item it is. Hold on just a second.
Item 6,
Item number
Yeah, item
6.
6, sorry, trying to work both computers. I'll make a motion to approve item 6.
I have a motion to approve of the public hearing for wine grower liquor license for St. Clair Winery in Bristol. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Who was the second? I'm sorry. Oh, Commissioner Payne, you're over there now. We have a second from Commissioner Payne. That is not a roll call. All those in favor, aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. Motion passes 7-0.
Mr. Mayor, we lost Jason, I think.
Before you move on, I received a message. He was having issues with his sound and microphone, so he was going to log off and try rebooting. So Teresa, you may need to let him back into the.
Okay,
He takes care of his computer.
yeah, I'll watch for it. Yeah.
So that vote would be corrected, 6.
Mayor, I realize that we've already voted on this issue, but I just wanted to take a moment and thank Ms. Lacombe for being here. And I'm really looking forward to your establishment opening up.
Yes.
It's very exciting. Can you give us an approximate date?
We're hoping to open in mid-May, and thank you so much. We're really excited to be in Alamogordo. It's a wonderful place. I've really enjoyed our visit there lately. We're from southern New Mexico. I grew up in Las Cruces, so you're only an hour away
Right.
from that. So we're really pleased to be there, and we're really excited to have our winery there.
Well, your pictures that have been posted on Facebook are extremely tempting, and I can't wait until you open.
Yes,
Thank
it's
you.
exciting. Thank you for considering us. We appreciate that.
Well, make sure you guys come to our VIP opening. If I don't have your email address, please email me, r.lescombe@Lescombe Winery, and I'll get you onto the VIP list for our grand opening. We'd love to have everybody
Can you
there.
repeat that, please?
r.lescombe, Lescombe, B as in boy, ES, @lescombewinery.com. And our LLC says St. Clair Winery Bistro, but the DBA is DH Lescombe.
Great. Thank you so much.
We'll be there. That's very exciting. Thank you.
I can send out an email to all the commissioners with her email address in it.
Oh, that'd be great. Thank
Perfect.
you.
Thank you, Teresa.
Thank
A
you,
lot
Teresa.
of people have waited for this for a long time. It was kind of, we heard you were coming, then you weren't coming, then you were, so we're very glad you're here.
Yes,
It's official now. We're all in, so we'll be there.
very
soon.
exciting.
So, thank you, guys. Appreciate it all.
Thank you. Move on to item 7, consider and act upon a restaurant beer and wine liquor license with on the premises consumption only for IHOP, application 3330 Alamogordo, Inc., located at 1413 South White Sands Boulevard. We have, want to make a comment on that, Teresa, or do we have,
Well, I believe Jose Solis, maybe? Oh, here, hang on, just a minute. I'm gonna let Jason in. He just came up.
Okay. Is there any comment regarding this from any of the commissioners or anyone?
I'm intrigued.
Is there anybody up there?
Isn't anybody else intrigued by IHOP having a liquor license?
Commissioner Payne, I'm very intrigued. In
Thank
fact, I've
you.
heard so many funny comments about what red goes well with pancakes.
I
what
know.
beer- What beer do you drink with crepes? I was hoping it would be more of a Bloody Mary mimosa kind of situation.
They actually have a really good dinner menu there too. They used
they
to.
do.
They do.
They do.
Yeah, they got hamburgers and chicken steak, I think, so. Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve item 7.
I have a motion from Commissioner Reardon to approve item 7, which is to consider an act upon a restaurant beer and wine liquor license for IHOP. Do I hear a second?
Second?
I have a second from Commissioner Payne. All those in favor, aye.
I
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. I think that passed 6-0. We don't, Jason, we have Jason, oh, he's got his hand up. Passed 7-0, correct the record. 7-0 was the vote. Do we have anyone? here? We don't have anybody here from my house.
I think Jose, I see.
Solis maybe.
Yeah,
Yes, he just popped up.
My name is Tio Regalado, and I was muted. I'm sorry. I was listening.
Well, we've approved your,
I
we've
have,
approved your beer license. Oh, he's gone now.
Oh, there he is.
Well, this is fun.
You've been approved.
thank you very much. We do appreciate you very much. We've been there for 10 years, and we love the city. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
We'll move on to new business. Item 8, consider an act upon award of an engineering services agreement to Smith Engineering Company related to the CDBG sidewalk improvement project. We have Nancy Vessler, our project manager with us this evening. Nancy, do you have any comments on that, or does anybody have any questions?
No, I just wanted to just reiterate that this is a community development block grant project. We're going to do ADA improvements in the portion of town between New York Avenue to Texas Avenue and 2nd Street to 8th Street. Basically, we're going to put in sidewalk where the sidewalk is missing. We're going to put in ADA compliant ramps, and we're going to put in concrete drive aprons where all the alleys are in those blocks. So it'll be a nice improvement to that portion of the city.
That's very exciting.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
award is to go to Smith Engineering. We did a request for proposal. We got several proposers, but they were the high scoring firm. They've done other ADA improvement design projects for us. So they know the city well, they know what they're doing, they do a good job. So this should be a really good project.
And when is that supposed to start?
This is the beginning of the design. I'm not sure how many, it'll be like a 4 to 5 month design process.
Okay,
And then
I
it'll have
got
to
you.
go out to add. So we're a little bit, almost a year out probably before the
Yeah,
construction will
okay.
start.
That's kind of what I thought, but it's exciting to see some activity down there and some improvements. That's pretty exciting.
Mr. Mayor, I got a question. How much money are we spending on this? It says it's fiscal impact of 50 and amount budgeted is 50, but what was their bid?
The $50,000 is the estimate for their proposal. So for engineering services, you can't select based on price. You have to select based on qualifications. And then once they're awarded the design, then we negotiate the cost for their engineering services. That's per
Yeah, so
state procurement code.
Okay, so it's going to cost us probably right at 50 grand then?
It may be a little bit more, but that's a good ballpark number.
Okay, will it come back to us for approval once, so we know what exactly we're spending, or?
We can. I mean, I can let Brian know and he can put that in his city manager report.
Okay, yeah, I just, you know what I mean? I said it amounts budgeted is 50,000, but you said it might come in a little higher than that. You know, if we're at 60,000, something like that, I think we should at least know about it.
Sure.
Designing sidewalks and ADA ramps isn't really that difficult, so that seems like a lot of money. So I don't know how
Yeah,
much they're doing,
some of that's going to include survey work to make sure we're, in right away and in our boundaries. And so.
Okay, thank you.
City
Mayor,
Manager-
I have a question for Ms. Beschler.
Well, just one second. City Manager Brian Caesar has a comment. Okay. Mayor Pro Tem Sykes.
Nancy, how much was the CDBG grant?
The grant is $500,000. We had our match is 50,000, but then they're requiring a leverage amount of like 700,000. And that's a new terminology for me. I'm not real familiar with the leveraging. So all total, we have we have budgeted about $800,000 for the construction portion.
Thank you.
That makes sense? Yeah.
City Manager Brian Caesar.
This is probably a question for the city attorney. So Commissioner Baldwin is still having issues with his microphone. He is asking if he can continue to participate in the meeting and vote yes, thumbs up, or thumbs down on an item.
Yes, as long as we have a way to record your vote, Commissioner Baldwin, we can, and we can see you. It's a shame we can't hear you. So thumbs up and yes, down for no. That'll work.
Jason knows sign language, right, Jason?
Oh,
Any other comment? Nancy, thank you for that explanation.
thank you, Nancy. I appreciate it.
Welcome.
Any other comment or questions? If not, do I hear a motion to approve item 8?
So moved.
I have a motion from Commissioner Payne to.
Or I make a motion, I should say. I apologize. I make a motion, we approve item 8.
I second.
Okay. Item 8 is awarded engineering services agreement to Smith Engineering.
The Smith Engineering Company for the sidewalk improvements, yes.
Do I hear a second?
Commissioner McDonald.
I have a second from Commissioner McDonald. All those in favor, aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. Motion passes 7-0. Move on to item 9. Consider and act upon a request by Lucy Census Braswell, citizen, for removal of liens and fines at 806 Jefferson Avenue. And I believe we have Ms. Braswell here this evening, do we?
Yes, she's attending by phone.
Okay.
Yes.
Lucy, can you hear us?
Yes. Go
Okay,
ahead.
you can start your presentation.
Okay, thank you. Mayor Pro Tem, and Commissioners, my name is Lucy Braswell, and I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to request that liens and fines be removed from 806 Jefferson Avenue, Alamogordo, New Mexico, a total of $705.44. I've had a utility bill at 1309 Charlotte Lane for 51.5 years, so I am easily found in the city's utility billing system. There was no utility service at 806 Jefferson Avenue, and there had been no service at that address for over 30 years when the city started billing for the water meters on empty lots. I never received notification of this change. In April 2017, a change of address notification for 800 Jefferson, which included 806 Jefferson Avenue, was submitted at the post office. The post office was not forwarding all of my mail, and I did not receive the 2 certified mail notifications of lien on 806 Jefferson Avenue sent by the city's utility billing collections clerk. I started receiving utility bills for 806 Jefferson Avenue at 1309 Charlotte Lane early 2020 with a past due amount at that time. I immediately contacted Mr. Mark Threadgill, Customer Service Manager, to make arrangements for a payment plan for this bill, and I was set up with a payment plan. I requested an adjustment of this bill from the city manager because I had never received the bill, and the city manager adjusted my bill and have had credit on that account since August of 2020. I was never advised that I had liens on 806 Jefferson Avenue from the utility department or Mr. Threadgill. A lien on someone's property is a very serious matter, and more than one source should be used to locate a property owner, since the county assessor is not always a reliable source for an owner's address. A lot of time and money could be saved by both the city and the property owner taxpayer if a more efficient and updated system was in place. The payment of this lien is a financial hardship for me at this time, since I am on a fixed income of Social Security. Thank you for your consideration on this matter, and again, I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, ma'am. Yeah, this is a question I always ask. Why the commission is not in nearly as good a position as staff is to make decisions on these types of items, because they've lived it and breathed it for the entire period. And I noticed that on our report number 9, the recommendation is no recommendation. Why is that? Why is there no recommendation? Should the commission, how should the commission act here? I think
Mayor, if I can, I will tell you there's no staff recommendation because this was asked for by Miss by the actual constituent here. This is her item. So staff didn't get involved and give any recommendation on this. She put it all in.
Well, can I ask staff's recommendation is in this matter?
It's, I mean, it's my recommendation that we don't just get rid of all the liens. If we're to forgive these liens, you will be inundated with requests. We get them in my office all of the time to just completely release liens. You know, city manager Caesar oftentimes works with people. We put them on payment plans. We will work with them on the interest or some of the administrative fees, but the only body that has the authority to actually wipe away a lien is this commission. So I would say that we get requests to abate some fines or fees, or I don't know, and Brian can talk about this, 4 to 5 times a week. And if we start down this, you're going to be getting at least that many on every agenda would be my.
Can I ask some questions?
Commissioner Payne.
Miss, I'm sorry, Braswell. I'm sorry, Miss Braswell. I just have a couple of questions for you. Can you, and I know you had to read through that fast, and but can you tell me, you said something about, I thought I heard you say something about getting, do you have other properties? Is that what I heard? Or I'm a little confused.
I have that property at 806 Jefferson that we're talking about.
Okay.
And then my personal property, yes.
And then your personal property, okay. And so you're saying that you didn't, but you said you were put on a payment plan for something. What was that?
That was for the 806 Jefferson when the utility department finally notified me and started sending me a bill for that 806 Jefferson for the water meter.
Okay, so you were put on a payment plan and you're saying you, so, okay. So you paid the water bill?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you're asking for, I guess I was thinking you were asking for removal of liens and fines. So all these fines are just related to the lien, not necessarily the bill?
No, the bill is paid up. I have credit on that account up to this month. So it's just the liens and the fine.
Okay. And, okay, so I'm assuming, okay.
If I can clarify that, what
Yeah.
happens is once we an account is not paid, and since our finance director is here, she could talk about this too. The account is finalized out, it's closed,
Right.
And then it is sent to collections, and once it goes through collections, then it comes to my office and we place a lien. Now, because of the way that our ordinances work, after that, then it's reopened because you still have to pay the base rate. So she did take care of the most current, but there were 2 liens, same address, that were on there. The reason why we, just to talk about this a little bit, why we send the mail where we send it is because we have to send the mail to
the
her
legal address,
which
sure.
is what
I understand that.
had.
Right.
And unfortunately, you know, we can't, for every piece of returned mail we get, sometimes people won't accept certified mail. Sometimes it just comes back. We cannot look through the water billing system and make a judgment. That's not legally sufficient. And if I took that into court on a lien, I'd get kicked out every time. So I sympathize, but our hands are tied. We have to send legal mail to the legal address, which is what the county assessor has. So this is a lesson for a lot of citizens. I always try and tell them, please ensure the county has your correct address. It matters for so many more things than most people realize.
So, yeah, because what I guess I'm just thinking, what about things like a tax bill or something? Wouldn't they use, like the tax assessor would use the legal address? And so I'm trying to figure out where the disconnect was for you, Ms. Braswell, between, you know, paying your taxes on your property, which obviously if you still own the property, you paid the taxes. Where's the disconnect between that and like the water department, I guess, is what I'm trying to figure out. I don't.
Question.
Commissioner Reardon?
How much are the liens for and what exactly are they for? Are they for past due water bill that's already been paid? Or are they for, and when were they filed? How long, how old
So
they are?
they're for past due water bills. I can tell you, let me just move to another screen. I apologize.
And I said, we don't really have a whole lot of information in this packet to really even make a decision based off of this. We don't know what we're releasing.
So there's two liens. The total that was given is incorrect because there is statutory interest on them. The payoff on the liens good through Friday, April 16th, is $962.38. On the first lien number 1734, this lien was put on the property in 2018. The lien amount is $405.88. In there is a $200 administrative fee pursuant to the ordinances. So the water bill was represented there with the late fee is it's $205.88. There are $50 in filing fees, which are hard costs for my department. I have to pay the county $25 to file the lien and $25 to release the lien. And then there is that statutory interest amount of $114.89. On the second lien, which is lien number 2106, this lien was put on the property on 2/14/2020. The lien amount is $299.56. So that means the water bill was $99.56. There's again $50 of filing fees. Those are the hard costs that I will pay to file and release it to the county. And then there is statutory interest of $42.05. So those amounts added together get us to $962.38, and that payoff is good through April 16th of this year, or Friday.
Okay, so she stated that she's already paid the actual water bill portion of it, or was that the past due from prior?
No. So again, she had an account that we finalized out for non-payment and closed it. We opened a new account and charged base rates. That account, when it was not paid, was finalized out, closed, and a lien filed. The next account was opened, base rates were charged, and that's the one that she's paid on. Now, the city manager did in May go ahead and abate part of that account for her because she did say that she wasn't getting the mail. So I have it here. I apologize. I just clicked the wrong button. She was given an abatement on this. It went down, I believe. I'm sorry, I'm just going to get this here. We adjusted the rate to the unimproved base rate for all bills from January 1st, 19 to 3/31/2020. So it went down, it was 216.68 and it went down, and I'm not sure. I apologize. I don't have that on here. I could search through my email and find it if the commission wants that information, but that did happen in May of this year.
May of
So
last
part
year.
of it was abated.
Right, I'm sorry, May of 2020.
2020. Okay, so that's
Okay,
what,
I can tell you, I have it right here. She was initially billed the amount of $216.60. It was recalculated to $166.78.
okay. So how much money are we talking about actually releasing if
She's
we?
asking that you release everything. You're
I
talking
know,
about
but
releasing $962.38.
It's
$962.38 is the payoff as of this coming Friday.
for both liens.
That's correct.
So $1,000.
Correct.
Anyone else?
I have a question for Ms. Braswell. Lucy, Nadia Sykes here. I'm just curious about something. Was this property, the 806 Jefferson, was this actually in your name, or was this one of the family properties?
No, this is in my name, Nadia.
Okay.
Is the house occupied by chance, or?
It's not a house, sir. It's an empty lot.
Okay.
And as I understand it, it's been an empty lot for a number of years, correct, Lucy?
It's been a long time, over 30 or around 30 years. Yes, ma'am. I had to tear the existing buildings down.
Anyone else have any questions, comments?
a quick comment. I, like all of you, do not like to set precedents. This situation seems a little extraordinary. And in the past, we have excused or released liens. I know that we are very hesitant to set a precedent, but in this case, based on the fact that Ms. Braswell was not receiving her mail, that I think we might want to make some concessions. That would be my suggestion.
Mr. Mayor, I got another comment on that as well. Part of the problem I have with this is some of y'all are aware of when this base rate argument came up prior to me getting back onto the commission, we had the same issue. This is the issue that's popping up. This lady has a vacant piece of property that's been vacant for over 30 years, and she's being charged for water use or a meter at this property when it's not even used. So I kind of agree with Mayor Pro Tem Sykes on this. It's one of those things that, maybe staff didn't try hard enough to get in touch with them. I know we have to follow this or that, but I'm kind of torn on this one. I mean, $1,000 worth of fees on an empty lot is kind of ridiculous, And was the rates figured? I guess you said it was in 18 that we filed the lien, so it would have been after they were adjusted to the lower rate of like $13 or $18, something like that per month.
I don't have that information in front of me.
Because originally it was 30, I think it was $29 and some change or something. And then we came in and argued with the previous commission and we got it reduced down to, I think it's $13 or $15 at that point. I can't remember exactly. So I'm just.
Yeah, I don't have that information, unfortunately. What I can tell you is that, it's about $350 to $400 in water. And the rest are the administrative fee, the hard costs we have of the filing fees, and the interest.
I'm going to interrupt for a second. Our city manager, Brian Caesar, has a comment to make.
So if I could just make a suggestion, because you really don't want to go down that slippery slope. That's going to be the argument. And I'm not saying that this person is being untruthful. But everyone else that comes forward from this point on is going to say, well, I didn't get my mail. As staff, we cannot release the lien, only commission can do that. But what we do have the ability to do as staff is work with the administrative fees, the filing fees, the interest. So my recommendation would be not to forgive the lien, but allow staff to work with this property owner and look at the administrative fees, interest, which would bring that bill down to, $400-ish.
Okay. I believe that's a great compromise in this, myself personally.
I didn't hear his recommendation, so I'd like to hear it again. I'm sorry. I have my volume up as high as it'll go, but I didn't hear what he said.
I was having trouble too.
I was wearing my mask.
Thank you, Sharon. Because I have to say thing.
So, listen, it's dangerous for the commission to release the lien because now you're going to get swamped with everyone else that has a lien on their property. As staff, we don't have the ability, only commission can fully release a lien. But as staff, we do have the ability to work with the administrative fees, the interest, the filing fee, thank you. So my recommendation would be for commission to allow staff to work with this property owner. That would take the roughly in round figures, the $1,000, the two liens together, the $1,000 down to somewhere right around $400.
Mr. Merritt, I've got a question, another question. The certified letters that were sent, were they returned undeliverable?
They were returned unknown.
Unknown. So
Mhm.
basically, we have proof that the constituent never received the mail because it was returned. My other question on that, I'm okay with staff negotiating with her and doing that, but we ought to look at getting with her and getting her signed up to go ahead and terminate the water service to this lot if she has no plans in the near future to develop that piece of property. That way we can avoid this issue in the future, because she can pay the fee or whatever it is, if I'm not mistaken, to terminate that water meter, and then she won't have a base rate bill. So, like I stated earlier, when we had this argument with you guys about 4.5 years ago, or 4 years ago, this is the kind of thing that we were fighting for right here, is vacant lots being billed for a service they're not utilizing.
I have a comment. I don't want to, I'm not gonna, we talked about this so much 4.5 years ago that quite honestly, I think I was dreaming about it. But what I will say is this, and I keep coming back to this. I get what you're saying. I hear you, Commissioner Reardon, I do. But I go back to the fact that there is the capability of having water on that lot. And we do, as citizens, all have a responsibility to maintain our water system. And that's what I keep going back to. And I know everybody knows that, where do those fees go? What are those fees used for? Correct me if I'm wrong, but they're used in part to maintain our water system. And I think that was part of the rationale behind this, was that we all have that responsibility. And so if you have a vacant lot, even if it's vacant, if you have the ability to get water to that lot, if she decided tomorrow to put a mobile home on it or build a house on it, she now has the ability to hook water up to our system. Correct me if I'm wrong. And as long as that ability is there, I do believe that as homeowners, as property owners, we have that responsibility. And that's why I supported that 4.5 years ago. That's why I support that now. I understand that she hasn't had anything on the lot. And I get it. I understand. But the fact is she is the property owner of that lot, and she has a responsibility to make sure addresses are updated, to make sure that just like if taxes were paid. I mean, if this were a tax issue and she said to the tax office, well, you don't have my right address, or you don't, I think there would be a lien, right, for taxes, right? I think we could all agree on that. And so I think I see this just the same way. I get what you're saying, but as the homeowner or as the property owner, it is incumbent upon her to make sure that all those things are updated. And so and that's why I supported the fees then. That's why I support them now. We have that responsibility. We have to make sure we maintain our water system. And we all know, I'll use Commissioner Baldwin's district as a great example of our infrastructure that has to be repaired. And so we all know the only way to do that is for us all to have buy-in as homeowners and people that use our water system. And so that's all I'm going to say on that. I understand, but I am in favor of staff working with her. I am personally not in favor of setting this kind of a precedent, and I do think that it will.
May I make a comment, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Everything was updated, and it was not something that I was negligent in, because I don't let my property go like that. I maintain and pay my bills, so it was something that I had no control over.
Anyone else? City Attorney Finkelstein, do you have a comment?
No, it's okay. We're all right.
How do we want to proceed on this? Do we need a motion, or do we just table it and allow staff to do it, or what do we got to do?
You need a motion on how you all would like it to be handled.
Okay. I'd like in the future too, on these types of situations, maybe staff should take, and I know you say we have to follow the law and all that, but I have multiple properties around the city of Alamogordo, and all of, say, the property tax bills that come from the assessor's office, they all come to my primary residence. I'm sure this lady's is the same. I could probably pull up the assessor's office website right now on my other computer here and find that she is the owner of that property, just based off of what they have online. So and we've had problems with this in the past, where we don't do our homework and try to find who owns those properties, and then we end up being the bad guy with the liens. So I think in the future, staff needs to take a little more time maybe and try to find these owners.
If I can, Commissioner Reardon, the problem with that is that if we send certified mail to another address based on what we know, and I'm not saying no facetiously, I'm saying if we send it to Miss Braswell Sanchez at a different address because we know she gets bills there, but that's not her legal address pursuant to the assessor, and then I take it forward to challenge it or to foreclose on the lien in court, like this commission's given me permission to do, I'm likely to lose that case. And so then
Based
we
off of based off the fact that we
service
sent it
not
to.
being legally sufficient. It's a service issue. It's not legally sufficient service at that point. So
It's
I mean, we can do that, but the problem is that it's guesswork. And so then you'll have someone come next and say, well, they sent it to the address I get my bills at, but I didn't get it because you didn't send it to the property address. All my mail from my property goes to my, and so we get in this problem where we're going to get into a never-ending cycle of people not getting. And unfortunately, we do the best we can. And water billing will actually print the day they send it, the assessor's sheet, and they recheck it and they write it down. And I have all of these documents because we want to be able to prove that we're checking and rechecking the assessors. I have 4 sheets over the years that show this, that 800 or 806 Jefferson is the correct address for this property because we continually check the assessor.
Well, it's just like the subdivision ordinance or the subdivisions out there. We send a certified letter to a subdivider. We don't send it to the vacant lot in his subdivision. We send it to the property owner, which happens to be that subdivider at a different address. So
maybe what we could do is do a PSA and maybe do like a public campaign to say, please make sure that you're updating your correct addresses. That maybe that would be a way that we keep it legally sufficient and let the public know that, hey, you could get legal mail based on what the assessor has.
well, even if you went to court and you showed that you sent a certified letter to a vacant lot, I mean, even the judge, I think the judge would look at that and be like, of course she didn't receive it because she doesn't reside there. It's a vacant piece of property. It's just a piece of dirt. So, it's obvious nobody's going to live there. So, I don't know. Like I say, we just have these issues that pop up like this from time to time. I've, with constituents in the past with water bills, people not being able, they have rental houses, the bills are sent to the rental house and then the liens are placed on that homeowner when that bill was actually tied to that renter. And we've had multiple cases in the past like that. So I just think we can do a little better job trying to locate the people that are responsible for the bills.
And may I make a comment, please?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not sure how the county assessor works, but a lot of times it could have been that they never updated the situation. And like Commissioner says, I didn't get mail at 806 Jefferson because there's nothing there. So
this could go on all night. I believe we've been given a good option, and I think that we'll turn it over to staff and let them see how much of the amount due that they can mitigate, and go from there. We could debate this. We've done this. We did this years ago. We've had some of the same debate, and we're just going back to it now. And I don't think that's now's the time to do that. If we just make the thing totally, we know what's going to happen. They're going to be inundated, and I don't think that's fair to staff. I don't think it's fair to the city. So I think we should move on at this point. Allow staff to negotiate it down. They think they can get it down around $400, and I think most of the commission hopefully could live with that. And I'll make a motion to that effect if that will work. City Attorney, what are you gonna say?
Yes, sir, that will work. It's my understanding you're making a motion that city staff contact the constituent and work with her in order to get her bill down. Is that correct?
I'll second that motion.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. Motion passes 7-0. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
Did
you,
I finally
Mayor.
have audio? Can you guys hear me?
Oh,
Yep.
yay.
Yes.
Yes.
I bet you wish you had this in the last meeting, me not being able to talk. Sorry.
Your hand looks very large right now, just FYI.
We'll move on to item, consider an act upon approval for water services for a county residence at 907 South Canyon Road. We have Larry Garner, our Public Works Director, here to give us some information on that. Good evening, Larry.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners, City Manager. Tonight you have in front of you a request for a county residents to be able to pick up city water. I'm going to share my screen so that you can see where this is at, if I can. Once I figure out how to get there. Maybe not. Okay, maybe I won't. I don't know how to get that off, get it back to my screen, but anyway. The address that we're referring to was, at the time of the first request, was 3 Canyon Draw. It was, the city staff went out and contacted the owners to discuss the option of putting water or bringing water into their area. The staff recommended at that particular time, I wish I could bring up that picture. I think that you guys have got a copy of the picture though in your package that hopefully you can look at to see exactly what I'm talking about.
Teresa.
I added that in.
Pull it up so they can see it. Are you able to do that?
Not sure if I can.
It would be a lot easier for me to explain this. I can't share mine for some reason, but
Teresa, you can give him access to share his screen. If you click on the corner of his picture, there should be like 3 little dots, and you can click on that and it has a menu and you can give him permission to share his screen.
I do not have that. That option does not come up. To share screen?
It is in our agenda packet. If commissioners open it up on their computer screens.
Is it the one with the yellow and the blue lines and the green?
yes, sir, that's correct. If you look at that particular picture there, it refers to the area. As you can see, 3 Canyon Draw at in that area of the county is going into almost like a cul-de-sac. It is kind of a subdivision in itself, I guess. City staff met with the owners, talked to them about the possibility of extending a 6-inch feed. David Dunley went out and talked with them and talked to them about connecting an existing connecting to our 6-inch main located in Canyon Road. The 2 water lines that you see that are kind of going across, we believe those with the red around it, we believe those are abandoned. So the line is in Canyon on that Canyon Road. The connection would require a 6-inch T with a cluster of 3 6-inch valves and a 6-inch line installed to test per current specifications past the residence to be connected to a flush point, which is generally a fire hydrant to aid with the water age. This permit would permit further extension of the utility into in the future. The roadway may or may not have legal description of easements for utilities. He understands that in the eyes of the customer service, line tapping into that line on Canyon Road would be easier. However, that limits the access to the additional customers that may build onto those lots. They did change the address to through the county to 907 South Canyon, which does allow the tap to come in off of Canyon with the second location. I believe it's in green on your picture. The red is where we were originally wanting to tap off of to extend that line past the subdivision so that we could supply other residents in that area for future use. The blue is, or the green is where it's currently being requested to be tapped off to go into this lot. The only other problem with that is, of course, which way the house is facing. Once the house is built, we typically bring our lines in to the front end of the house. This would most likely bring it to the side of the house. I believe Mr. Matherly is here to answer any questions for the homeowners. Is that correct?
Yes.
And Mr. Moore is the contractor for the that was contracted for the plumbing for the tap into that line.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Yes, Mayor Boss, this is Gerald Matherly. You take a house that on a corner lot, you figure it in a street, and you can turn that house to where the front entry is on another street and it has a street address of the one that's parallel with it. This front entry will be facing kind of a southwest direction on this lot. On the northwest corner of this lot, there is a fire hydrant in the main. That's where we were talking about trying to tie into it. What this would be stopping or preventing would be this person on this lot to having to drill a well. The other lots there's one other vacant lot in that subdivision. All the other people are on wells in there. They're like 2.5 acre lots, and I believe there's 5 lots right there. So you're going to have a large combination of water wells all drilled in one little tight area. So what we were trying to do is just to come off to a tap right there that which is actually in the utility easement of this property. The other option that they were talking about at first, coming off of the water main and coming up on the canyon draw, coming in with the fire hydrant and doing a tap for any future use, you're talking probably $20,000, and that's quite a bit. We'll be tearing up the road on this. We have road patches on Canyon and Canyon Draw. This other tap would be already off the road. There'd be no kind of road taps. It would be an easy deal if it was accepted. Abe, do you have anything you want to add to that?
No, y'all nailed it. I did not get the commissioner's packet, so I don't know what they're referring to, but we've got an easy spot to do a tap in the northwest corner. Like you said, the main is already out from underneath the pavement. There is a hydrant there, so we're just trying to get considered for a meter on that location.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes. Commissioner Redden.
Larry, according to this picture, it shows we have water mains actually running through that piece of property. Is that correct? Or is that what you said was abandoned line?
Those the city staff believes are abandoned. They were transmission lines. They weren't supply lines. So the one that you see on Canyon Road is the actual main water line.
Okay. So do we know for a fact whether those lines are dead or?
Those other lines were abandoned back in 2001.
Okay.
The water runs in Canyon Road or just to the outside of Canyon Road.
It's the outside. Okay. And then
property, those were abandoned 20 years ago.
20 years. Okay. If we do allow this tap coming off of Canyon Road, how long of a service line are we going to basically come off the main and set a meter right inside the property, and then the plumber will go from the meter to the house, so that will be on the homeowner? Or are they asking us to get the meter close to the house?
No, we would put the meter as close to the main as possible off the road. We would not go out any further than we had to. And then it would be the responsibility of the homeowner to bring it and the contractor
Bring it from the
meter out.
Okay. How long of a service line are we looking at coming off of our main onto their property?
3 feet.
3 feet?
Yeah.
So basically, essentially, it's going to be a shorter service line than a normal residential home on a regular street. Where
Correct.
it's in the center of the road coming to the deal, so,
Yes, sir.
all right. And then what is that property? It's just going to be a single family home? Is that all?
Yes, sir.
Yes, it's just a single family, Josh.
Okay, single family home, okay. All right, thank you.
And one other thing, we're going to clear the brush off that probably the end of the week. I really hope, I told Dirt Guy to try to stay away from those valves, but at some point they're gonna have to be tore up and dug up. Those ones that are supposedly abandoned, so I really hope they are.
I got a question. What's the city's issue with tapping the main on the northwest corner of the property out of the street?
The only issue that we had, the reason why we our recommendation was to extend it down Canyon Draw is for future use, because it could limit the amount of people that want to tap in off of that. But other than that, I mean, it's not a problem to come off of that line. It's just for future use, and that's what we're using a lot for our new for any of the subdivision for growth. I'm sure Brian can give you a lot better explanation of that himself.
So, Commissioner Wright, obviously right now, this property and the other properties on Canyon Draw are in the county. At some point in the future, that area may be annexed into the city. As Mr. Matherly stated, the other properties, improved properties in the area are off of wells. As you know, being a contractor, and we have developers on the screen, et cetera, cost to extend utilities is borne by the property owner or by the developer. So what we're looking at is what's coming down the road in 5, 10, 15 years. As those wells fail, are those property owners now going to want to be hooked up to city water and be petitioning the city? If so, are we going to have now a 3-foot service line going to this first property, 150-foot service line going to the next property, a 500-foot service line, and all these 1-inch service lines going down Canyon Draw? Not saying that it's going to happen tomorrow, but I've seen it elsewhere in the city in the time that I've worked here. I haven't been out to the property. I didn't meet with Abe or Gerald. But looking at the aerial that was provided, it looks to me like the big lot is being divided into 2 separate lots, with the home going to the one, the vacant piece that's closest to Canyon Road. My question would be, okay, for this other piece of property that isn't developed yet, I'm sure at some point there's going to be a home or something placed there. Is the plan then to come back to the city commission and say, okay, now we have this one tap for the first piece of property. Now I need a 300-foot service line, or whatever that distance is. I haven't measured it. Going to the next vacant piece of property that I'm assuming is owned by the same person. Okay. Or is the plan going to be to go well on that piece of property? So from that standpoint, that's what we're looking at is, it's not to punish Mr. Matherly or the person buying this property or having the home built. It's what's coming down the road in the future. Is the city going to annex that area at some point? Probably yes. It's not on our radar today, but people in that area could definitely petition to come into the city. Or the property owner at the end of the cul-de-sac could have their well go down, and instead of spending 15-ish thousand, they may want to hook up to city water. For the next property owner over to the west, that's why we would request that the 6-inch line go just past the improved piece of property with the hydrant so we can flush. Then the next property owner over, if they're wanting to hook into the city water, and commission approves it because it is in the county right now. So commission is the only body that can authorize outside the city water service. They would just have to extend the piece of main just past their property. Is there anything totally wrong with the tap coming off of Canyon for this one piece? No. But down the road, it could create issues for either this blank piece of, or this unimproved piece of property where it looks like this lot is being divided. And that's just an assumption on my part from the drawing, and for the other property owners in the area.
Well, Brian, on that, it's not fair to that one property owner to build the city, the whole infrastructure to come up into that subdivision and would be tearing Canyon Road up, tearing Canyon Draw Road up, having to rebuild the road to come in there, put your fire hydrant, what you all proposed. Now it's at one time, 10 or 15 years down the road, if that's what it came to, and those people's wells, they started going dry, then that should be a community effort of all those people that live in that cul-de-sac to have that option for y'all to approach them and to all split that evenly. But this one person coming in, I can tell you it's way cheaper to drill a well than it is to do all this work, what y'all were proposing.
And I understand what Mr. Caesar's saying too. I've seen some really long services, and I've seen some stuff that's outside of the city that creates issues. And that's why we tried to make it an easy decision on the staff and the commission by changing that address to the Canyon address instead of the Canyon Draw address, because they're right there. They're right there on the edge. The neighbor right next to them on Canyon has water service as well as everybody there. And I do see what Mr. Caesar's saying. If it was the person at the end of the lot, or the end of the road, I could totally understand this. But this gentleman's building a big house on these two lots, and everybody has a well.
So both those lots, where it looks like it's being divided now by that dotted yellow, sorry, if you don't have it in front of you, but I think Gerald does.
Those are both his lots.
Line. Is that separating that into two separate lots, or are they building on that end?
No, actually, that was big. Brian, I'm sorry, I didn't get a chance to explain that. That is actually where they've combined the two lots.
Yep.
So it was showing that it was two lots, and they've combined them now to one.
Okay, I'm going to ask what I always ask. It's not filled out on our agenda report. What is staff's recommendation? How should the commission handle this? You've seen all the stuff. We haven't seen it. Many of you have been out there and looked at it. How should the commission react to this? Give us something. Give us a little help. Larry, Brian?
Well, I see Brian coming up, so.
I'll go ahead and stand up.
One or both of you, you know.
So we talked about extending the 6-inch water line. That's the recommendation on the report. I misunderstood the aerial with the dotted line. I thought that meant two lots. Mr. Matherly is exactly right. At a future time that gets annexed into the city. Now the area they want, city services, the water, sewer, etc. We can do a special assessment district. But 10, 15 years down the line, we won't be sending in city crews to extend. That's really up to the subdivision. This isn't in the county. So different standards that we have in the city versus the county on how things are extended, developed. So the 1/8 service line coming off of Canyon Road is perfectly acceptable. That will work. With an understanding that at a future point, if the rest of that what I'm calling a I'm assuming it's brought in, but it isn't the county, that if the requests start coming in, it would be a special assessment district to have those utilities extended. That would be divided up between the various property owners for whatever the cost of that would be.
So because those two lots are combined into one, now you've changed your opinion on this?
I misunderstood
That's what
I
I heard.
misunderstood the area. Yes.
So we would not have a problem approving this request.
I don't have
Mr. Mayor,
concern and heartburn that I had earlier, now that I understand the fighting line.
Who said this, Mayor?
it was me, Commissioner Bolt. First, I like your vigor tonight of putting staff on the line for all of this. It's time they're in the hot seat a couple of times, so thank you for that. Did anybody discuss the cost to the city, putting it from the main to the meter, and the cost of putting it from the meter to the house? So the cost of putting it from the main to the meter falls on the city. What is that? And then from that point forward, what is it to the contractor?
We bear that cost, Jason, or Commissioner Baldwin, I apologize.
No worries. Okay, so the entire cost of putting, going from the main to the meter and going from the meter to the house is all on the contractor?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, with that information, and the city manager's information and description he gave us about the lots and his understanding of it, I would just make a motion to go ahead and act and approve the water services for county residents at 907 Canyon Road.
I'll second it.
I have a motion from Commissioner Baldwin to approve the item 10. That's correct? No, item 11, I'm sorry. No,
Number 10.
It's 10.
It's item 10.
for water services for county residents at 907 South Canyon Road.
So just to clarify, we're approving a 1-inch meter set off of Canyon Road, correct?
Yes, Commissioner Wright.
And further clarification, there will be no cost to the city.
Yes, ma'am. No cost. It's all on, it'll all be on the resident and the contractor.
If there's no further
Thank
discussion, right, we have a motion on the table. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Who was first on the second? Mr. Payne?
Sure.
Mr. Payne. All those in favor, aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. Motion passes 7-0. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Move on to item 11, consider an act upon resolution 2021-10 to increase convenience center rates on water bills. And we're going to stick to listen to Larry Garner, our Public Works Director again. Larry?
Good evening again, Commission, Mayor Pro Tem Commission, City Manager. This item is to hopefully correct a problem that we're starting to experience with the convenience center rates. The rates haven't been adjusted since 2016, and we're looking to, staff's recommendation is to replace the resolution 2020-10 with 2021-10. This would give us the ability to raise the service portion of the bills that everybody gets on their water bill by $1. It would, instead of being $2.20 for the all residents, right now they pay $2.20 on their water bill. They would be $3.20 and $3.20, and then all commercials would go up to $3.30. And then going forward, so that we don't run into this situation again, it would all be based on CPI for the years forward, going forward, so that we could keep keep up with the amounts that are being charged. We have increases that we deal with every year. The landfill goes up 2% every year, and with the COVID pandemic that we had an enormous amount of uptick of people coming in and bringing their trash in because they were now at home. They could clean out their garages, their sheds, and whatever. And we the transfer station hauled a lot of material out to the landfill. Those are, of course, costs that we have to pay. So city's requesting that you approve us allowing this resolution to go forward so that we can keep up with the costs of this and not drive our budget in the hole. We right now, with the budget the way it is, if we're lucky, we break even. A lot of times we're on the lower side. So this would help us keep our budget up where it's supposed to be. And pretty questions.
Has it been 6 years since there's been an increase? Is that what you said?
The last time that there was a resolution on this was back in 2016, and that was when it was passed with $2.20 and $2.30 for the businesses.
Any questions or comments?
A question on that. One thing I do have a problem with on this is the CPI, the cost of living in there. I think, in order to raise the rates on this, I believe it should come to commission to raise that rather than just giving you guys the ability, because, as new commissioners come in over the years, it kind of goes by the wayside. And then before we know it, we got a $10 fee that the commission doesn't even know about. So I personally would like to see the CPI nixed out of there. And then since budget hearings are coming up here like in a month and a half, I really think we should address this issue at budget hearings. So that way we have some numbers, some hard data on where this money is actually going. That originally this out when I was in office before, we put a $2 fee on the water bill to help fund this. You guys have bumped it up 20 and 30 cents. The last time, I'm kind of wondering why we're not doing a 20 or 30 cent increase now, why we're going a full dollar. Because the next go around, you guys will want another full dollar and another full dollar and that kind of stuff. So I'd like a little more information on, how much we're spending, what we're bringing in, and that kind of stuff. Because this only fund that funds that convenience center, it does come out of the water trash type stuff too, doesn't it? Off of our water bills.
That's correct. The reason why we're bumping it up is because of the fact that we didn't start in 2016 to follow the increases at the landfill. So what we're trying to do is get in line with the current charges that are increasing every year that we haven't matched with the convenience center, and we have to pay those tipping fees as well when we take trash out to the landfill. So we're trying to get in line with. I'm trying to do a catch up, and then with going with CPI, it will be dependent, of course, on that rather than me coming to you and saying, okay, well, a couple of years ago I asked for $1, I'm going to ask for another $1. It would be, like I said, it would just match what the CPI is going for that year.
How much have the tipping fees gone up in the last since 2016?
Gone up 2% every year.
2%?
2% every year. Yes, it's built into.
It was like 22 or $22 per ton or something like that.
Larry's going to have to answer that.
Back in 16, what is it now? It's per ton.
I don't have that information right in front of me. I apologize. I'd have to look that up.
Okay. Yeah, I remember it was, we didn't raise the longest time at the landfill out there. I think it was $18. That's the one that comes to mind. So I'm just kind of wondering, you know what I mean? Because we don't have to make money at the convenience center. It's a convenience for the citizens. And if we break even, that's all the government has to do is raise enough revenue to provide the service and break even. So
Yes,
we're not in the money-making businesses.
And I agree.
I believe that
making money. This is because of the fact that this would also build our fund. Right now, we're hitting the fund balance rather hard just to make the budget because we're at a deficit. We're not making that every month. So this is with that fee. What that does is that not only helps us pay for the fees that we have paid for tipping and getting rid of the stuff, but also puts money back into the fund so that we are able to maintain the equipment or anything else we run into. That's the only avenue we have right now.
Like I say, in the agenda report, it would have been very easy if we would have put some budget numbers in there so we knew what we're spending, what we're bringing in. That's kind of where I'm going with that. You don't give us quite enough information to make the decision based off of what's here. It's just asking for a raise, in the rate. It's not telling us what we're paying with all. I mean, I understand what we're paying, but it's not showing us what we're bringing in and what we're paying. You know what I mean?
Mr. Mayor, I did have a comment.
Mr. Baldwin?
Yeah, my initial issue with this was everything that Commissioner Reardon just said, so I just want to back up that. I would like to see some numbers if we table this item so we can actually get the budget, you know, being told that we're kind of over, kind of under, and moving forward from that. You know, I don't disbelieve any of that, but I would prefer to see the actual budget. And if we're going to raise it so we can cover equipment costs, I want to see the plan for the equipment as well. So not just, well, we want money in the coffers so that we could spend money on equipment. I want to see what equipment we need, when we need it. You know, it should be a part of our, you know, our capital improvement plan, our equipment plan that we have. But yeah, I'm just not comfortable moving forward until I see those numbers in front of me.
Mr. Mayor, also, just so the rest of the commission knows, the convenience center did receive a new backhoe, I believe, last year. And they did receive a new haul truck, I think, within the last 3 or 4 years out there. So obviously, we've paid for that equipment somehow out there. So,
And it's just
against you, Larry, I'd like to see a little more
I
information.
understand, and that's not a problem. I can get you those numbers. It's not just the vehicles, though. It also is the trash bins that are falling apart and everything else that we've got out there. But I would be more than happy to get those numbers to you.
Thank you.
We'll get those, right, Evelyn?
Commissioner Baldwin?
I was just saying thank you to Larry.
So is the recommendation we table this for now and wait until we get some information on our budget? Because that's pretty much the consensus is what I'm hearing.
Yes.
That's my belief, yeah.
You want to, staff want to table it till next meeting?
A motion to table this?
That's what I'm saying. Does, Mr. Mayor, does staff want to table till next meeting or?
Yes, yes. Can we bring it back next meeting? Is that enough time?
Okay,
Brian
I'll
says
make,
yes.
I'll make a motion to table this item until the next regular meeting.
I have a motion to Reardon to table item 11. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Who said I'm Mr. Payne?
Commissioner Payne, yes.
All those in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion passes 7-0. Item is taken. Move on to item 12. Consider an act on approval of 2 new meter reader positions in utility billing department. We have Evelyn Huff, our finance director, here to give us some information on that. Evelyn?
All right, we're gonna try the share screen thing here.
All
right, good afternoon, or actually evening. Commissioners, Mayor Pro Tem, City Manager Caesar, to kind of continue our water theme for the meeting. We have a presentation for a request for two new positions for the utility billing department meter reader section specifically. So you all have this presentation in your packet, so I'm not going to obviously read every word to you, but we do have a quick overview of the current system that we have. As y'all remember, 2014 was the approval of the installation of the advanced meter infrastructure, or the AMI system. Over the course of 3 years that was installed. We do have a warranty, but this does not include the general maintenance on the system. So this includes any sort of warranty work, but we are required to maintain our own system. And also, as part of the acceptance of the finalization of the AMI installation, not every meter in the city currently has an AMI system. So we do have meters that do not have the radio read system on them. So our next part is we kind of have, just for everybody who has not seen us before or has any questions, I'm going to go kind of quickly over how our advanced metering infrastructure works so that you can kind of understand what we have to fix, when we have to fix it, and why. So we'll start with, we have the ground. And then we have 3 meter cans. Each of those meter cans then has a water meter in it. On top of those water meters sit the ETRs. And the ETRs are the electronic tracking mechanism. And this uses the magnetic technology to read every time the meter spins. So it's a very straightforward item. It does have a battery in it, and it counts every time that little dial spins. From there is a cable that I make it look much shorter here than it is in real life. That leads up to the MIUs, which is the meter infrastructure interfacing unit. And so this is really kind of the core of what broadcasts out the amount of times that the ETR reads, that the ETR reads. And so these are the devices, they're stuck on the bottom of the lids of the meter can. They have this little part that comes through, and then they have the little cap on the top that actually emits the read out of the top of it. So when you look at your meter can and you see that gray circle on it, that is what is emitting that radio signal out of it. Underneath it is the actual MIU box that also has batteries in it and also has some electronic pieces in it. So once the ETR counts those, it sends that information up the cable, it sends it to the MIU. The MIU forces it out the top of the meter can, and then it starts bouncing that signal off of whatever it can find. And so it's a mesh network, which means that it's going to look for the nearest like item. So in this case, if this MIU is closer to another MIU, it's going to bounce off that first. It's going to bounce off this. And eventually what they're looking for is they're looking for the MIUR, which is the meter interface unit repeater. So there's over 100 of these scattered throughout the city, and it's looking to go ahead and deliver its signal to that. So, and as you can imagine, if for some reason this MIU isn't working or this MIU isn't working, now this signal is having to go all the way over to this MIUR, which puts more of a strain on the system. And same thing, if this one can't be here, then it's going further over trying to get to the MIUR. Its ultimate goal is to get to the gateway. And the gateway, we have 17 of those, 7 of those, sorry, I added 10. We have 7 of those. And those are our major collectors throughout the city. Oh, now there's 8. And so those are our major collectors throughout the city. And so they're receiving all of the information from the MIURs into the gateway. And this is where our meter technicians are going to gather the information, download the information. This is a major point for us that, you know, if a gateway is not functioning or going down, that makes it extremely hard for us to do our billing and keep the system going. Kind of a quick and dirty version of how our system works. And we have over 13,000 of these meters, ETR, MIUs that are reporting to our MIURs and our gateways. And so that just kind of gives you what those acronyms are there. Okay. So obviously our biggest concern at any point in time is system failure. When the parts of the system are failing or don't work together, or one has failed, so it's putting the strain on others, you can see it can really, really change our reporting. We had a situation in fall of 2020 that happened with, as you can see, the dotted line is our 2019 reporting. The solid line is our 2020 reporting. We're doing really, really good towards late summer, and then we just hit a patch where batteries started failing. I think we hit a big group of meters that all were the same age, and the ETRs started to fail on us, some MIUs started to fail on us, and we had a massive amount stop reading. So when this happens, due to lots of different things such as end of life status, defective parts, damage from weather, careless handling from contractors or from the customers themselves, because they go out there and lift those things up to pull the wire out. Underground animals, or also sabotage, which we see quite a bit of. It's very easy to lift those up and cut the wires. When this type of failure occurs, a COA meter technician must respond to the failed equipment. They must troubleshoot it and complete the repair, depending on if we have the parts available. Try and keep those replacement parts available at all times. But if you have a lot more go down than what you're expecting, sometimes you can be waiting on parts from the manufacturer. No one else handles this but the 3 meter technicians that we currently have on staff. So we don't have anybody else who's working on our AMI system. It's just our 3 meter technicians. Some failures are not spotted right away because the equipment may still be reporting an inaccurate read. This happens a lot when the ETRs start to fail. Instead of counting every revolution, maybe they count every 3rd revolution. And so people's water bills will be substantially less because, you know, it's counting every 3rd revolution. Then maybe it gets down to where it's counting every 5th. And eventually it fails. We go in, we find that, we replace it. And then all of a sudden there's a very different reading on that meter than what we initially thought there was, because it's possible that that ETR had been failing for a significant amount of time. So currently with our staff, we have the 3 positions. We have 1 meter technician supervisor and 2 meter technicians. They're responsible for all 13,000, over 13,000 meters, ETRs, MIUs, MIURs, and gateways. The other thing that we really wanted to highlight was that if this AMI equipment is not working, customers are not able to see their accurate consumptions on AquaHawk. And so that is a big thing. Like, we've invested in that software. We like it very much. We push it out to all the customers. We ask them to register and review it. But if the information and the technology at the meter is not working, the information going to AquaHawk is not correct. And so we do have customers sometimes that will come in and their bills, you know, been going down because the ETR is failing. And then when we get that accurate read, all of a sudden they have this huge spike. And so they'll come in and, you know, ask questions about it and everything. And we have to explain to him that, you know, we have found that there's an issue, and that spike just shows us getting back up to the accurate reading. So along with maintaining the AMI system, they're also currently responsible for all the manual readings, which are about 350 a month. These are meters that do not have AMI technology on them, so they do have to be read manually. All new service turn-ons and meter installations for new builds, all terminations for service turn-offs, all billing cutoffs for non-payment. This is currently suspended due to COVID, but we know at some point we're going to get back to that. That's a huge thing. There's usually 3 weeks out of the month where they have billing cutoffs, and that can be anywhere from 60 to 70 cutoffs a day, where they're trying to get those done so that we can keep our collection rate to where we can operate the system. Zero consumption audits every 3 months. These are for meters that are showing no consumption. We want to make sure that they're showing no consumption for the right reasons. Base rate turn-ons, turn-offs, including locking the meter, emergency turn-offs during working hours, rechecking readings for billing purposes, and then of course customer requests. You know, when a customer comes in and says, you know, they want their meter read by hand, or they need something checked out. These are special requests that we try and get to as much as we can. So right now, all of this, plus the maintenance on the AMI system, is being done by 3 people. So that's been an issue because, as we know, our system is aging. It's not going to get any younger. And it's starting in some cases to hit its end of life, where it needs to have replacement done. And as we saw from the diagram, we can stress the system quite a bit if one of our MIUs is out, if one of our MIURs are out, and we're making other MIUs and MIURs do more work to keep up with the system. You know, that adds to the age of the system as well. The skills to complete these repairs are very specialized. This is not something that we can just pick anybody off the street to go do. Fabian has worked with this system since its inception. So has Nate, and Jamie is skilled as well. So they spend a lot of time learning how to deal with this stuff. So we are currently using our specialized labor to complete non-specialized tasks. We are also not able to systematically upgrade to the new technology. So if Center, which is our meter company, comes out and says, hey, we've got these great batteries, we get them installed, it's going to help your life, it's going to help all of your stuff. We don't have the capacity to do that at this point. We get to it kind of when we get to it, and we get to things when they fail instead of getting to things preventively. So on that note, we are requesting 2 new meter reader positions. These positions would be able to take some of the unskilled responsibilities, such as manual readings, the new turn on, turn offs, billing cutoffs, all of these other things that our skilled meter technicians are having to run around and cover. These 2 positions would be able to cover this, and this would allow our 3 skilled positions to be updating our system, maintaining our system, and being proactive in keeping our system that's not getting any younger continuously working and continuously upgraded. Because we did put a great deal of money into getting this system installed. So either we maintain it now and we figure out a way to maintain it now, or not too far down the road, we're going to have to replace it, or we're going to have to do such a major overhaul that we're going to just continue to pour more money into it. So each of these positions is about $45,000 a year. This covers their wages and their estimated benefits. Per our city policy, we estimate these benefits at a level that if this person was to come in, they would be taking full insurance, and they would be taking that full insurance for the family. So if we get that person, great. If we don't, then some of these benefits would be decreased as well. So our request, the total annual cost for these 2 positions would be $90,024.76 with the assumption of the full insurance. This would improve the customer service for all the system's customers and would allow the meter technicians to focus on the system, as I talked about before. So the water billing department is requesting that you approve these 2 positions now so that we can hire them as soon as possible. And that's one of the reasons we came with this to the commission separately, rather than meeting and going through the budget process, because we really feel that this is something that is time sensitive and we would really like to work on it. In the last year that I've been finance director, we have had Zenner, the company, come out twice to do some massive overhauls of our system, because it's gotten to the point where we were at 15% or more non-reporting, which meant that it's considered a catastrophic failure. And if we get to those situations again, we're also going to start getting into the situation where we're having to fight with them to help us. And we're just getting into a situation where we're not maintaining our system to the level we could, and we're going to have to replace it. So I do have Fabian Esquera with me. He is the head meter technician. I also have customer service manager, Nicole Sierra. So if you have any really technical meter or billing questions, they're here to help with that, and we'll take any questions.
I'll go first. How old is this system? I think it was voted on and approved to install when I was on commission previously, so we're talking less than 10 years.
So the original contract was approved in 2014. The installation began in 2014, but there was about a 3-year period where there were some issues and everything. So the installation didn't end until 2017. So the oldest meters are 7 years old and the newest ones are 4.
Okay, and we're already having problems at 4 and 7 years with their system?
Yes.
We had problems way before that.
Yeah.
All right. I don't remember what it ran us, but I'm thinking it was couple $1 million for us to install all this. Was it correct?
It's about $2.5 million.
2.5 million. And then one of my other questions was, prior to us installing this system, when we used to manually read 13,000 meters in Alamogordo, how many readers did we have at that time?
We had 3 or 4 meter readers, but the other thing to point out with that situation is at that time, we were not doing terminations. We were not doing cutoffs for billing cutoffs. So if you were put into cutoff status, we were not actually going and shutting the water off. We were leaving it on.
We used to manually read, I'll say 12,000 meters with 4 people back before we installed this system. And we spent $2.5 million to put the system in so that we don't have to have as many meter readers. Now we're asking to hire $100,000 worth of people to read meters and help maintain the system.
But there was no consideration for that the fact the system would actually need maintenance. There was no plan towards that. These, things were going to have to be replaced. Cables were going to be cut. Meter cans were going to be filled with dirt. There was no plan for that. And then, like I said, plus we were not being strict with our shutoffs at all.
Okay. How many shutoffs do we typically do in a month? I just, you know what I mean? You got to look at it from the commission standpoint. We authorized $2.5 million to purchase this system so we could eliminate some of this and try to streamline the system. Now you guys are asking to spend an additional $100,000, I'm just rounding it off, a year to supplement maintenance on the system that cost us an enormous amount of money. So
Nicole is saying her estimate for monthly cutoffs is about $1,300 a month.
We do 1,300 cutoffs a month?
Yes.
For non-payment?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
As Evelyn,
3 weeks.
what wasn't considered when this originally went to commission is that ongoing maintenance. That was not factored in. I was out in public works at that time, but I was there for every presentation that went before commission. And maintenance of the system was never considered by previous employees. So that was definitely an oversight on staff's part at that time. The other thing that Evelyn talked a little bit about is what was done in the past. We were using public works employees to do turn-ons, turn-offs, shut-offs. That's also a highly specialized area. So we were using employees at that time that were making $17, $18, $19 an hour, had their water and wastewater certifications. They weren't out maintaining the water and wastewater system. They were going out and performing turn-ons, turn-offs, replacement of meters, stuff that really is more a function of water billing. Not that we don't support other areas, because obviously we do. $100,000, that is or roughly $100,000. That is, as everyone said, with full benefits. It's relatively rare that we get someone in at the entry level that is going to want to have the full benefits, but we do budget it and bring that to commission because the possibility is there that the new employee or employees will want to have the full family health coverage, the dental, vision, all the benefits that we offer to the employees. So yes, $1,000 is a large amount of money. It's not insignificant. I'm not trying to say that it is, but bringing these employees to new positions on board, that allows us to maintain that $2.5 million system that was put in. If we went, because when we met 6 months ago, I believe it was, as we were having the last catastrophic failure, one of the things that we or water billing finance looked at is, do we want to continue to try and make this system work? Or do we go out for a new system, or do we go back to the old ways of reading the meters? It's not efficient to read them by hand.
Can I just back that up for a minute, Commissioner Reardon? I not that I have any personal experience or anything, but I got to tell you, I'm not sure reading those meters by hand was efficient. Not that I'd know anything about that, but I'm not sure that that was real efficient. And I would be way more supportive of hiring extra help if that's what it takes than going back to something like that. That's definitely was not enough people, for sure.
Well, my other question to that, Brian, is, what is the hourly rate? Come January 1 of next year, we're going to be bumping the minimum wage to $12 an hour. So right now, this is two $45,000 a year positions if full benefits. At the first of the year, is this cost going to go higher? Because is it a $12 an hour employee, or is it a $15 an hour employee?
I believe
I'm going with that. And
I believe it's a $12 an hour employee.
uh-huh.
It is a $12 an hour employee, and so then on the first of the year they would be eligible for the 50-cent raises that will be presenting in the budget for all the employees.
So we'd go from $12 to $12.50 in January 1. So we've increased that cost now, additional the $1,040 on a 2,080 hour year if they were 40 hours a week for 52 weeks. So, but you know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not against, needing to service the system and that kind of thing, but this is a reoccurring expense that we have every single year. It's $100,000, and every year it's going to keep going just a little higher and higher and higher because of cost of living raises, insurance costs going higher, that kind of thing.
And every year our system's going to need more and more maintenance.
Yeah. If we have a deteriorating system, part of the deteriorating system is because we don't have enough staff out there taking care of it. What's the difference in those dollars and the dollars we're paying to these two individuals?
Basically, because we've already spent $2.5 million to put the system in, and it's only roughly been used for 4 years. So you see where I'm saying there? It sounds like we got took when we purchased the system.
I'm not going to argue that with you.
Sorry, I'm having a hard time.
I wouldn't argue that one either. So,
Evelyn, I have a question. If you add these three people, based on what you're seeing now, failure, maintenance, is there any way that that information can be tracked? I mean, because, cost is important, but if the city is a little bit more efficient with the, just with maintaining the equipment and making sure we don't have another catastrophic failure, because coming back from a catastrophic failure is more expensive, I think, is it more than $90,000 to come back from that, or no?
Well, so when we have a failure like that, we have to then usually bring Zenner in. And the way our contract is written, every year that it gets longer, we have to pay them more money when they come. So as the system gets older, it's going to cost us more and more money to do that. So yes, our goal is to definitely make it to where, like the graph I showed, where there's that significant drop off, we want to get rid of those significant drop offs. And by being able to do preventative maintenance, we should be able to now maintain that straight line, because we are able to do preventative maintenance, respond to failures faster, and install new updated equipment faster as well. So yes, we should definitely be able to track all of that.
Commissioner Baldwin?
Thank you for seeing my hand. Well, a couple things. In the graph you showed us, Evelyn, where it showed the percentage drop, where you said it was basically a catastrophic failure, was the number on the left a percentage of meters being read? What was it? What did that number indicate?
So yeah, the number on the left is the percentage of readings that we get in. So obviously 100% is always the goal, because then that means that every every ETR, every MIU is reporting, and it shows up as little green. So every little green dot is green. So that's always the goal. You know, usually 98 to 99% is what we can achieve realistically.
Okay. So as I believe you stated, catastrophic failure was getting to 14, 15%. That's when you're dropping down into that area? Okay. Commissioner Reardon, again, said, you know, my biggest concern is acquiring reoccurring costs. To give the commission a perspective, when I was elected in 2012, I was given the budget book and we had 317 employees in the city of Alamogordo. And stepping aside or putting aside the water department acquisition, I guess you could say, how many employees do we currently have? City manager, 470 something now?
I just
Ballpark it?
I count the other day because I'm doing a training. It's about 345 right now.
345 employees is all we have?
That's what the Human Resources Department told me. Those are actual employees that we have currently, 345.
Full-time and part-time?
Yeah, I have to do a training for every single employee. So that includes everybody from all the way to the bottom to city manager Caesar.
Okay.
That's
completely
post-COVID too.
Okay, post-COVID. So maybe last year it was higher than that. We were in the 4-somethings a year ago or a couple years ago. But my point being is the city over the last 10 years has acquired a lot more employees, and that's, again, reoccurring costs. Commissioner McDonald made my other point in that as long as this is trackable, I'm okay with it. Meaning, if we dip down into the 86th percentile of meter reading and we bring these 2 employees back on and we get up back to a maintainable level, then it's basically worth the cost, but I would prefer to be able to track that and see those numbers as she stated. It would be easier to justify this if that's the case. So I have concerns bringing on more employees. You know, city manager made a point that at one point, the job of reading meters and doing stuff for the water department was shared by other employees. And that's something that going back 8-9 years ago, that's something that Josh, myself, Commissioner Sykes, we always pushed for cross-training and people doing more work because we know that's just smart business to cross-train people and to be doing things like that. So as long as we can justify at the end in a couple of years, look back at that and see that we're not dipping down, that the maintenance on these meters are being maintained, then I'm not going to fight it too much. But I mean, we have to be able to justify it. And as always, the lesson should be moving forward. And I'm sorry, Commission, because you guys get tired of hearing me say this, but we have to learn from these mistakes. This is a $2.4 million project that nobody considered what the existing maintenance is going to be 5 years, 6 years down the road. I mean, come on. And by the way, Evelyn, good presentation. That was nice to see it laid out so simply. And did you ever expect you're going to have to be a water meter expert?
Fabian only had to explain it to me like 5 times before I got it right. So.
Okay, well done.
Any other comments?
Mr. Mayor, just, you know, I know staff had mentioned that, you know, typically when we ask for new positions or staff asks for new positions, we do it during budget hearings, which are literally a month away, month and a half away. Just kind of torn on this, you know what I mean? Because it is a reoccurring expense and it is a large amount of money each year. So, you know, our payroll's already going sky high because of the fact of the governor raising the minimum wage. So it's gone up this year. It'll go up again next year. And I think we're going to hold at that temporarily till they raise it again. But just fiscally, and then with COVID, that was my other question too. You know, we had that dip in service, but right around that time, we had a lot of staff that were either working from home or weren't at work. They were furloughed. So did that have anything to do with the fact of the dip in the maintenance?
No, the meter technicians were never furloughed. They were considered essential employees. So they worked. We even got to the point where they weren't allowed to come in City Hall. We would put buckets outside the door for them so that they could continue to work without having a chance of being contaminated.
City Manager has a comment.
So, yes, Commissioner Reardon, you're exactly right. Normally, these requests come during the budget hearings. This was important enough that as we went through the process, looking at positions, what was not getting, what maintenance is not getting performed and where we were at, it was important enough to bring it, even though, yes, budget hearings are roughly a month or so away. If we wait until the budget process in a month, that doesn't mean that now water billing can go out and hire for those positions if the budget is approved. It still has to go up to the state for approval. The earliest that finance water billing would be able to start the hiring process would be in the new fiscal year. So we're talking after July 1. The hiring process will take a minimum of 45 days. So now we're well into the new fiscal year. We talked a little bit about COVID. We're getting now to the point where water billing is going to have to go out and start turning off people for non-payment again. That will start back up. That means that the existing water billing staff will not be able to continue to perform the routine maintenance that should be performed on a daily basis. And that's part of the reason in a lot of the areas of the city that we have the issues that we have, because the routine maintenance was put on the back burner. To get the system back up to where it is today, as Evelyn talked about, technicians from Zenner had to come in. Our water bill, our meter readers, the technicians, they were out working alongside Zenner. We had to pull in, I believe it was 2 people from utility maintenance or from public works anyway, in the water field, to be able to get the batteries installed, replace the units. The people from public works, I don't believe were able to do the programming and stuff. That would have been the water billing technicians, because the guys in public works aren't certified and checked out on that type of equipment. But it is, to me, to water billing, to finance, this was an important enough issue to bring forward so that we don't get into the position that we were in just a month and a half ago. Or it might have been a little bit longer. COVID sort of destroyed my time sense, but it was just recently that we had a good portion of the system that had failed, and it was getting worse every day.
So in times like those, is it possible to pull some of the public works guys in to help us get the system back up where it needs to be, rather than hiring, additional staff? You know where I'm going with? Because
I understand what you're saying with that, but sure, we could pull employees from all over the city when something goes really wrong. But then we get the questions: why aren't you filling the potholes? Why do we have these water breaks that haven't been filled? When those staff from public works were pulled to help out water billing, that was 2 less people in the water shop that were able to go out and address leaks and meter cans. So they're playing catch up now to take care of the stuff that should be their routine maintenance and repair, to go help out another department. If this was something that happened once every 5 years and was a 2 or 3 week process, I wouldn't disagree with you. But as everyone said, the system is getting older. As it gets older, it's going to fail on a more frequent basis. If that maintenance is not performed, if those batteries aren't replaced, if the ETRs and other units aren't upgraded, it's going to cause failures more and more often. And you've seen at least 2 budgets that have come forward in the past couple of years. from a staff standpoint, we're not coming before commission saying, hey, we just want to increase staff because we have some extra money. There is a definite need for it. And a need that can be easily justified and shown as we continue to move forward, that the investment of the two new positions, that is money well spent.
I would like to make a motion that we approve 2 new meter reader positions for the utility billing department. There can be further discussion, but there is a motion on the table. Is there a second?
I'll second.
A second from Commissioner Payne. Is there further discussion or shall we vote?
Just, sorry, I lost my train of thought on that one. But I'm good. Never mind. Sorry, I lost my comment.
We have a motion. We have a second. All those in favor? Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Those
I'm a
opposed?
no. I'm a no.
Nay.
You're a nay also, Commissioner Wright?
Yeah.
Motion passes 5-2. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes 5-2. Move on to appointments of boards and committees, and we do have an appointment. I have an appointment that we're going to make to a committee. I'm going to go ahead and go over all of our boards and committees that we have some vacancies on. The Airport Zoning Board has 1 vacancy. Parks and Recreation Board has 1 vacancy. There is no applications received on that one. Senior Volunteer Program Advisory Council, there are 3 vacancies, and we have a lady, Monica Flew. This would be her first term. She's asked to be appointed to that. I've reviewed her application, and if the commission agrees, I'm going to appoint Monica to that position. If there's no objection, then she is hereby appointed. We'll move on to executive session. Do I hear a motion to adjourn into executive session in compliance with 10-1015187 NMSA as amended to discuss threatened or pending litigation, Tommy Harrell threatened lawsuit?
So moved.
So moved.
A motion, thanks, who was first? Commissioner Reardon, and a second from Commissioner Payne. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Jason Baldwin,
Aye.
Nadia Sykes,
Aye.
Josh Arden,
Aye.
Sharon McDonald,
Aye.
Dusty Wright,
Aye.
Susan Payne,
Aye.
Richard Boss.
Aye. Well, we have a motion that would to go into executive session, and we are adjourned into executive session.
Okay, let me